welcome to some film developing, some constant agitation tonight. Got a couple of rolls of film to develop. Welcome, welcome one and all. Hopefully you are all having a wonderful, wonderful evening. For those of you who do not know me or my photography, well, I go by eRoyvis here on Twitch, and my professional photography, I go by Brian J. French. And if you are interested in any of the work that I do, you can type in !art, and it pulls up the link to my card page, which is sort of the link aggregate. You can see my links to my website, Instagram, Vero, Patreon, Redbubble store, all of that fun stuff. So thank you so much for spending some of your Thursday evening with me. I always, always, always appreciate having the pleasure of your company. It is always a wonderful, wonderful thing. Good evening, Wing41. Thank you again for posting that. So yeah, we're developing a couple of rolls of film tonight. Been a while since I've done an art stream. Things have been a little quiet on the photography front overall, really. It's been a very, very busy couple of months. But I went on vacation last week, and I shot a lot of pictures, and I shot a couple of rolls of film, and that's what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to be developing 2 rolls of film. And as I have said often on these streams, you do not need to have a darkroom to develop your film. You just need to have the joy that is a film-changing bag. Turn down the music here so that I'm not being completely drowned out. All right. So we need a film-changing bag, which is what this nifty thing is behind me. I'll show you all the chemicals that I use, the film-developing tanks that we'll be using for tonight's fun, and yeah, so hopefully you'll just enjoy the next couple of hours. Because I've got multiple rolls of film to develop, I won't do when I have a single roll and actually show you how I mix the chemicals and all that. All the chemicals have already been made beforehand. They've been pre-mixed. They are ready to go. So that's what we got. So hopefully you guys are doing very well out there. It's been, as I said, I've been pretty busy. At vacation last week. I'm going to weddings the next 2 weekends. Then I'm going to Massachusetts first week of November, and so I finally get a nice little quiet around Veterans Day weekend. So and there's going to be like 1 or 2 shoots mixed in there as well. So busy, busy, busy. All right. Well, as I said, let's get started. So again, to be able, the hardest part of this whole process is getting the film from here into here. Now, this is a step that that you have to do in the dark. And there are 2 ways you can do this. The first is do what I'm about to do in a light, tight room. And I mean light, tight. No, completely black. The door is not letting in any light through the cracks in the in the frame. No, completely dark. That's one way to do it. That's how I used to do that when I was in college. But the second way, and probably the more common way, is with this film-changing bag. It's a double-layered, light-tight bag. You put everything in here, and you then load the film into the developing tank, all by touch. That's why I say this is the hardest part of the process, because you can't take the film out to look at, so you'll ruin it. So you just can't. So we've got 2 rolls of film, so I'm going to be doing this twice. So I've got two separate developing tanks here, and every developing tank has pretty much the same elements. So Going inside, you got the the empty tank there. We've got the spool or the reel that this is going to go on, and I really enjoy these plastic ones because they are adjustable. This can adjust so that you can develop either 35 millimeter or medium format, which is what we're going to be developing, medium format film. Yeah, these can adjust, and they've got a little ratchets, and it's very easy to load. So what normally happens is, you take the film off the canister, you load it onto here, you load it, put it on this little piece of black plastic so that it sits down in the bottom of the tank there on that little nub in the center that goes in like this. Then this part, which is the funnel, this is where you pour the chemicals into. It goes over the whole top of that. It clicks into place, making it light tight. Depending on the type of developing tank you have, this one clicks into place, while this one, actually, it just screws into place. So, let's take your pick. Then once it's all together, put the lid on it, and you are ready to go. Hey, Lena, good evening. Good evening, my friend. How are you doing? Just about to get started with this evening's agitation. So we're going to load these up one roll at a time. They do make developing tanks, which, are tall so that you can develop multiple rolls at once. But let's shake it real good. You can develop multiple rolls at once. I don't like to do that for a couple of reasons. One, I typically don't develop multiple rolls at a time to begin with. And also, even though that I have developed hundreds and hundreds of rolls of film and have lost maybe 5 in the last almost 20 years that I've been developing film, I still, the fact that there's a non-zero chance, I don't want to ruin multiple rolls. It's best for me to lose one than a whole bunch of them, number one. And also, number two, art takes time. Why rush it? Like, this is therapeutic to me. So, alright, let's load up all the components into the film changing bag. So again, we're going to do this for the first roll, and then I will repeat for roll number 2. So let's take out roll number 1. Zip it all up. There's Velcro on here to add an extra layer of fun. And now we're going to just move this right over here. Welcome to my kitchen, where I'm cooking film instead of actual food. Stay there. Back up. Thank you. Alright. Now comes the... Better for that. Also that. Alright. Now we get to grope around in the dark. So we're just gonna... Now these sleeves have a very, very tight elastic band around them to make a light, tight seal around your arm, but still, you're still going to want to work pretty quickly. Alright. There's the spool. Where's the film? There's the film. Alright. Again, this is the hardest part of the whole process. You have to do this entirely by touch. Alright. I've unwrapped the film. I just gotta find the start of it so that I can load it onto the spool there. There's the start of the film. There's the spool. Guide the film onto the spool. Guide it through. And now we load. Now this is a 16 exposure roll, so it's not going to take too long for it to completely load up. When I get near the end of the roll, I can tell that I'm getting close because it's adhering to the center with a little piece of Scotch tape. I can feel a tug, which alerts me, hey, you're near the end of the roll. So you got to peel that Scotch tape off. Which, there we are. We've peeled it off. And we load up the film the rest of the way. There we are. The film's on. Now, where's that black centerpiece? There it is. Jam it through the hole. Yes, I know. Phrasing. Alright. It's in the tank. Funnel is in the tank. Clicked into place. Put the lid on. And we have roll number 1. I will catch up on the chat in a minute. So here we are. And what's left... So medium format film has a paper backing. It's got a white, which the white side helps me when I load the camera, it tells me where the start is, and a black side. That's what's left. So that's one. Let's get the second one ready to go. Yes, light side and dark side, very much like the Force. Don't you know, Lena? This is how George Lucas was inspired to do Star Wars, because he developed film. Hey! Thank you for the resub, Tiny Dragon on fire! Welcome to the party. Oh, we got all these tentacly appendages. It's getting all hentai up in here. Alright, let's load up this again for number 2. Hey, thank you for the bits! Come on. There we are. Everything's in there except for roll of film number 2. There we are. Roll film number 2. Getting ready. We are not going to develop both rolls of film at once. That would be too much to keep track of it at once. So... we're just going to... I'll develop roll number 1, and then when that's done, proceedest to roll number 2. Nice to see the Odd Squad represented well here on my stream tonight. Always a pleasure. Roll number 2. Alright. Where's the spool? There's the film. Spool? Spool! There it is. Oh, hey! Oh, hey, I'm going to a wedding this weekend too, Lena. I'm going down to Long Island for a big gay wedding. And I can't wait. Hey, hey. Behave in there.
This part, I don't know if this really happened, or I dreamt it later, or what. I mean, I'm fighting this bad off all alone, and I'll be damned if I didn't get really turned on.
There we go. Ooh. Ooh, nope. I'm gonna start that again. I'm feeling a lot of resistance. That does not feel right. That does not feel right at all. That roll is fighting me. Well. I've reached the end of the... Yeah, that doesn't feel right. That does not feel right at all. Alright. Take the film off the roll. Oh yeah, it got stuck. It got stuck. Alright. That's alright. It happens sometimes. Try that again. Sometimes when the film is really wound up on the film canister, it can get caught on the spool as you're loading it, and it causes it to bunch up. And that's what happened here. So let's try that again. This time it feels much better. Yeah. There we go. You have to coax it gently sometimes. There we go. All right. Yes, Long Island. Going to Long Island. All right. And there we are. All right. Now let's get rid of you and this table so that I have some more room to work with and actually begin developing. How about that? So I'm going to put this headset down for a moment so I can move stuff without killing myself on wires. Oh, folding tables.
Well, the fact is, I did murder someone last night. I turned into a vampire. It's a long story.
And now that the hardest part is out of the way, we can get to the fun part. I'll put this second roll of film off to the side here. I'll just put you in that pie dish. Ah, the joys of using my kitchen for streaming. All right. But yes, I actually, yeah, Lena, I have got, the next 2 weekends for me are weddings. Although one of them is going to be a fun wedding, and the other, in the second weekend, probably not so much because family will be involved. All right. So we've got this ready to go. Now let's get our chemicals. Let's get our chemicals all prepared. So there are 5 chemicals that I use when I develop film, but the first 3 are absolutely mandatory. The last 2 just make my life easier. So the first 3 chemicals, it's developer, then stop bath, and then fixer. And then after that, I use wash aid, and I use something called Ilfotol. Developer is exactly what it says on the tin. Stop bath stops the developing dead in its tracks. Fixer removes any outstanding undeveloped silver and makes it so that you can take your film out and expose it to light without it being ruined. Wash aid removes any residual fixer, and Ilfotol is basically jet dry for film. So let's get our chemicals prepared. Now, I already know that both developing tanks are 20-ounce tanks, so I need to have 20 ounces of liquid at all times. And so we start with the developer. Now, developer you can use in one of 3 ways. You can use what's just called stock developer, in which it's exactly what it sounds like. I would just take 20 ounces of this delicious brown jug. I would take 20 ounces of this stuff, pour it in there, and away you go. But I don't like doing that. That's pretty uneven developing. Also, you're using quite a lot of developer. Then there's the second way, which is probably one of the more common ways, and the way I was taught in high school and in college, and that's 1-to-1. So 1 part developer to 1 part water. So I will use 10 ounces of developer to 10 ounces of water. And then the last method, I don't know of too many film photographers who actually use this. It's a 1-to-3 method, where it's 1 part developer to 3 parts water, and that takes a really, really long time. I find that 1-to-1 is a nice middle ground. So let's get 10 ounces of this stuff ready to go. Yeah, the wedding I'm going to this weekend is big gay wedding. The second wedding is a cousin wedding for me as well. So yeah, and it's funny because like a couple weeks ago, my mother and my sister are like, "Oh hey, you coming down? Staying at the same hotel that we're all staying at?" And I went, "Oh hell no." First of all, the last time the families got together for a family wedding, you all got too stoned and drunk and you got mad at each other and you didn't talk to each other for 5 years, number one. And I want no part of that. Number two, this is in driving distance. It's an hour and 45 from my apartment. I'm just going down for the wedding and the reception and driving right back. Alright, so there's 10 ounces of developer. Now I'll just go over here to my water. Ideally, when you're developing film, you'd want to use like distilled water because sometimes the residual minerals and whatnot in regular tap water might interfere and fuck up your film. But if you don't have, if all you have is tap, then, you use what you got. It'll still work either way, usually. You have a Brita a pitcher that I use. So, at the very least, I use filtered for film developing. So we've got our... Oh. That's a first. I don't usually do that. I poured my developer into my fixer jug, but it was empty, so no harm, no foul. I'll just pour all that into my measuring cup that's labeled developer. Thing is, developer and fixer look exactly identical. They're both clear, and the only way I can tell them apart is that developer has no smell, and if it does, it means it's gone bad. And fixer smells like vinegar. Traveling down, staying in a hotel with my folks, and they're covering my... And Mom gets very snarky. So fun drunk. Alright. Yeah, it's developer. Stop bath is next. That's developer. That's stop bath. Once again in my big brown jug. Stop bath is pretty easy. There's no additional mixing required, and it looks like a it looks like you're very dehydrated. Where is my fixer? There's my fixer. Yep, that's fixer. There's that vinegary smell. All right, now that we've prepared our base chemicals, we need to find out what temperature they are, because that's going to determine how long the developing process will take. Ideally, the ideal temperature to develop film is 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 degrees Celsius. And I've since the last film developing stream, I've moved up in the world. I've now gone to digital thermometers, so these guys are making their first appearance. So, yeah. And I have a feeling because my apartment, the heat is off and the windows are open, I have a feeling that these are going to be far, far less than 68. 61.2. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are hovering about 62. So as I expected, we're going to need to warm these up. Which is fine. Which is not a problem because I have my handy-dandy, non-pollutionary film chemistry warming device. This is not a hairdryer. This is a film chemistry warming device. And what I need to do is to get these guys up to 68. These guys are around 61, between 61 and 62. So, yeah, let's fire this up. I'm going to mute my mic. I'm going to mute my mic so you don't have the roar of the hairdryer. We're at 64 at the moment, and I'm going to give you guys a bit of a courtesy warning. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to have a lot of running water, so if you need to use the bathroom, please do so now, or forever hold your bladder. Almost there. We're at 66. Now again, I can develop at this temperature, but it would just take longer. You can basically develop between 58 and 75 degrees. But I have a method. And also, I don't want to do conversion in my head. All right, we have hit 68, which means it is now time to begin roll number 1. Excellent. So I'm using Ilford Delta 400 speed film, which means at 68 degrees, the time that the developer needs to stay in here is 14 minutes. So we're going to start that right now. So let's get ready. Let's move a little closer. Yep, that's developer. All right, and here we go. All right. Once I pour this in, I'm committed to seeing the entire process through. And here we go. All right. Now the developer's in. We're going to do constant agitation for the first 30 seconds or so. And then 10 seconds at the top of every minute. As we just cover the film in developer. We are off. All right, and now it's time to get our water. We're about going to start getting our rinse water up to temperature, because we need to have that. Agitation. Oh yeah, that's a little chilly. Let's very slightly adjust the faucet here. Now, when I was in college, I didn't have to play with this, let's move the faucet handle by a micrometer game. We actually had a thermostat on the three sinks. Each one had a thermostat that you could set the temperature to, and you would get that temperature water coming out. I miss my college darkroom and lab. I don't miss the coursework. Oop, that's probably gonna be a little much. So what I want to do is have all of my chemicals be the same temperature throughout. If you want to have as close, so if you start at 68, you should have everything else around 68 as well. Otherwise, you run the risk of basically shocking your film, and you can potentially wind up with grainier film if you have wild fluctuations in temperature between your chemicals and your rinse water. Oh, my kettle that I can temp program. Yes, I have an electric kettle, but it is not programmable. So that's like the next level. Ooh, fancy. Yep, I was afraid that was going to happen. I went a micrometer too far, and now my rinse water is above 68. Now it's 75. I'm going to hit this. A little less than 9 minutes to go in step 1 here. Bring you down a little more. 72. All right. So if I get it within between 68 and 70, I will be fine. So I don't know how many of you out there are fans of horror games, but Konami announced a bunch of Silent Hill related stuff yesterday, which made me very happy. Because I am a big fan of the Silent Hill series. Yep, 68.5. I will take that. I will take that. Like, Silent Hill 2 is getting a full-on HD remaster, remake, everything, which I'm pleased with. That's my favorite. Silent Hill 2 is the fan favorite. It's the favorite for the entire franchise. It's also it's my personal favorite as well. Silent Hill 2 is such a great game. All right, let's hit you a little. Let's hit you again. Water is holding at 68.5. There we go. My fixer was having troubles trying to get to 68. Once again, thank you all so much for spending some of your Thursday evening with me. I very, very much enjoy having the pleasure of your company. We are film developing. Our roll number 1 is currently underway. There will be a second roll upon the conclusion of the first. 5 minutes left to go in this. Well, in step 1, anyway. It's a very quiet process, film developing. Normally, if I'm developing film and I'm not streaming it, I usually stream it. We have 2 bathrooms in this apartment. That's what I use the second bathroom for, is my own personal lab. But then, you know, trying to fit my entire streaming setup into my bathroom would be very challenging indeed. It's like, oh hey, bath time stream. So a friend of mine who you've seen me edit images of many times before on stream, and also has been on the audio a few times, my friend McKenna, she is in the middle of planning a LARP based on Vampire the Masquerade, but set in like the golden age of Hollywood. And she's asked me to be the event photographer for that when that happens, probably in a year from now. Like, ooh. That'll be fun, and also dollars. Like, I have no shame. I will happily take your cash. Two minutes to go in the developing stage. After this, it will be Stop Bath, and Stop Bath is very quick. About 30 seconds. 30 seconds to a minute. And then you pour the Stop Bath out, and in goes the Fixer for about 4 minutes. Can be between 3 and 5, but so I'll just stick with the middle ground. I'll go right to 4. Then comes first rinse. Then comes wash aid. Then final rinse. Then Ilfotol. And then that's that. And we just repeat it for roll number 2. Final minute. Fixer is at the right temperature, so we're good to go. Rinse water is exactly 68, which is fine. Perfectly fine. Alright. Now remember, this funnel is light tight, so it's not hurting anything. Alright. Pour out the developer very quickly, because even the residual developer that's still clinging to the film is still developing. Alright. There we go. And I'll do this for about between 30 and 60 seconds. And it's constant agitation for that time. The active ingredient in Stop Bath is predominantly citric acid. I'm not suggesting that if you do this at home, that you take a bottle of orange juice and pour it in here. I mean, it will probably also do the trick, but also, why are you going to waste orange juice? Although, hey, Tropicana, new marketing scheme. Alright, it has been a minute. Let's pour out the Stop Bath. And in goes the Fixer. Fixer follows the same rules as developer. Constantly agitate for the first 30 seconds. Fixer follows the same rules as the developer. Agitate for the first 30 seconds, and then it is 10 seconds at the top of every minute. Because what this is now doing is it is now removing any undeveloped silver and making the negative safe to be exposed to light. It is fixing the exposure to the celluloid. Hence why it's called Fixer. Now, if I had a photographic darkroom, if I had a print darkroom, what I would be doing at this point, after I'm done with this stage, is I'd be pouring the Fixer into a used Fixer container, and it can be reused to develop prints. Unfortunately, I don't have that, so unfortunately I have to dump it. I also do not develop enough film to dump it into what's called a silver reclaiming unit, because it's taking out the undeveloped silver in the film, which means that there is silver in solution, dissolved silver in solution in the Fixer. Not enough to, anything measurable for cash or anything like that. The amount of silver in film is so small that to even get like an ounce worth of silver, you need to develop somewhere in the order of around 100 rolls. Alright, that's slipped a couple of tenths of degrees, but that's fine. We're still right around 68. When I used to work at a Walmart photo lab, we developed a lot of film in a day, and at the end of the night, before we closed, we would take these two great big, maybe like 5-gallon jugs that were attached to the developing machine and the print machine, and we'd pour that spent silver, that spent Fixer, into a silver reclaiming unit. And once it was full, we'd send it back to Kodak, or Fuji. No, it was Fuji. Alright. So these are the 3 mandatory chemicals. So at this point, I could call this done. So what I would do if I didn't have the other 2 chemicals on standby, I would just let this rinse under this water for between 15 and 20 minutes. The other 2 chemicals are going to reduce that final rinse time. The next chemical is going to be going to reduce my final rinse time down to 5 minutes. Alright. We are done with Fixer. So now we're just going to let this run for about a minute in the first rinse. already know my rinse is at temperature. We're going to prepare the wash aid. Which is where stop wash aid. There we are. Now, wash aid contains a foaming agent. It's not a soap, but what wash aid does is it removes any fixer that is still clinging to the film. And we do this for about 2.5 minutes. Good timing. And the reason why we want to get all the fixer off the film is because if you don't, then over time, your film will start to yellow. Same goes for prints. If you don't remove the fixer, all the fixer from the print in the rinse, and this is the part where you start working out your arms, because it is constant agitation for 2.5 minutes. So, don't skip arm day. How many of you out there are taking part in this weekend's Artist Back Alley? I feel slightly bummed because this is going to be the second straight Artist Back Alley Raid Train event that I'm going to be missing. The last one was during my my weekend of Dave Matthews concert, so I was not anywhere near a computer. And because of the wedding this weekend, I will not be taking part. So hopefully, I will get in on the next ABA raid train. Which, if they keep to their every 2-month sort of schedule, the next one should be in December. I'm hoping to get it. I even bought a train conductor hat and everything. Seriously. Now, when I take this lid off in about 40 seconds, it's going to be very, very sudsy. Alrighty. Alright. We have gone to the 2.5 minutes, and now we're going to do the final rinse. It's the final rinsing. So you're going to see how sudsy this is. There we are. Want a drink? Now you can't see this against the silver enamel or the silver of a kitchen sink, but if this was a white sink, this what I would have just poured out. It would have been a very slight purple, which indicates fixer came off of it. All right, so now the final rinse is 5 minutes, and because this has already had fixer on it, we can now take it to we can expose it to the light, and it'll be fine. It is fine at this stage. So away we go. Final rinse. Five minutes. So normally what I'd be doing is I'd start cleaning up, things like that, but while this is going on, I might as well start preparing everything else for roll number 2. So I'm going to do just that. Get my developer and my fixer and my stop bath. We're probably going to have to warm them up again. That's okay. Are you developer? Yes, you are. Developer will go back here. Stopper. Alrighty. And our... And the song he sang was a jug of fixer. Yeah, it doesn't quite scan. Oh, when I went to Baltimore last week, I got to go to the Maryland Renaissance Fair for the first time. Oh my God, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it to pieces. It was such an awesome, awesome, awesome experience. I only wish that it wasn't 6 hours away. You cycle the water once or twice in the final rinse. And while we do that, our last chemical, step 7, is called Ilfotol. And you've heard me refer to it a million times as jet dry for film because it operates on the same principle. If you have a dishwasher and you put jet dry in it, it minimizes the risk of water spots showing up on your glasses. You know, if you just you look up and you see all these dry water spots, it's usually from like hard water or minerals in your water. Jet dry reduces the appearance of that. Ilfotol is the same exact idea, but for film. It minimizes the risk that water spots will show up on your negatives while they're drying, which is great because editing out a water spot is pretty tricky. All right. The final rinse is done. We are rinsed. We are well and truly rinsed. Ah. So now what we do, we're going to take the Ilfotol here, and we only pour in just enough to cover the white spool in there. Just enough. You don't fill it all the way to the top. And we do that for about 1 minute. So I don't even bother measuring this out. I just eyeball it. And as soon as I see it, go right, just covering. There we are. And that is for 1 minute. Hey. There you go. And as we are getting right at the end here, now if this was just my only roll, I'd shut the water off and start cleaning up. Because I have a second roll to do, I'm leaving that on because I don't want to futz around trying to find what the temperature of the rinse water was all over again. So this can be done. This can go over here. I'll just put you over here. And that's that. All right. You know what? I will turn that off because I'm going to take it after I'm done with this first roll and hang it up. I'm going to take about like a 5-minute break. I've been standing this whole time. All right. We dump out the Ilfotol. And now for the moment of truth. Spirits above me, give me a sign. Shall I be joyous or shall I be damned? And the answer is, oh, that looks pretty joyous to me. Okay, so this roll was mostly from the cemetery where Edgar Allan Poe is buried. The Westminster Church and Burial Yard. Oh, those look lovely. Those look quite good. All right, I'm going to put you down so I can hang this up. All right. So, because I don't have the benefit of a film drying cabinet like I used to have at college, I just hang them. I have a shower rod over the bathtub, and I have a hanger that drapes off it, and I just hang the film off of that using clips, and I weigh it down using a couple of other clips, like a binder clip, or even something a little heavier like a binder clip, because as it dries, excuse me, as it dries, it's going to want to curl back up on itself. So we weigh it down so that it doesn't do that while it's drying. All right, I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break because I've been standing for the last hour and a half. And when we come back, roll number 2. So take 5, everybody. All right, back to the action some more. Nice little sitting down, always good. So we're getting ready for roll number 2. Which has been sitting in the pie dish that I've got down below there. So once again, I'm gonna mute this so that it's not just 5 minutes of hair dryer here. Well, good for you, Tiny Dragon. I just finished developing roll number 1. I am now preparing to develop roll number 2. So we're just getting my my chemicals up to temperature here. So you only missed the first half. You get a second chance! Just getting our... Woo, yay, so exciting. Hey, joy. Joy, rapture, yay. Alright. Developer is at 66, Fixer's at 64. We gotta keep going here. I gotta get these guys up to 68. So most of the first roll of film was from the cemetery where Edgar Allan Poe is buried, the Westminster Church and Burial Yard in downtown Baltimore. Such spoop. Very, very, very spoop. He's big in Baltimore. Alright. Fixer's at 66. Developer. I need to hit it for just a little while longer. Another 30 seconds or so. Let's see how the developer handles that. I think the developer is fine. Residual heat's going to carry over. Oh, right now my fixer is at 66.6 degrees. How about that? 666 a chandelier in pieces! Developer is already at temperature, so I'm going to move you off to the side. Another 10 seconds or so on the fixer, and we'll have another look. All right. Yeah, I think residual is going to carry that over as well. So I think we are just about ready to go here on roll number 2. Yeah, we are about half a degree higher than... We're at 68.4, which is... Yeah, that is fine. That's not going to mess up our time at all. So, let's switch it all back and let's start it again. We're going to put 14 minutes on the clock because it's the same type of film we did just a few minutes ago. It was Ilford Delta 400. So, here we go. And there we go. Developer is in. Constant agitation for the first 30 seconds. And then every 10 seconds at the top of each minute. Just coat the film in developer. Yes. Constant! Absolutely constant. All right, let's start getting our rinse water going here. Get that to 68. Yep. Residual did carry the fixer over the top. That's 68.2 right now, so excellent. Excellent. Mwah! Okay. I had to make sure I just didn't ruin my roll of film by pouring fixer in first. I didn't. Because developer has no smell unless it's gone rancid. Fixer smells like vinegar all the time. So how are you doing, Tiny Dragon? Tired, I would like to rest. I have more non-job work to do. How is our rinse water? Not too bad. I almost got it right on the first try. It's 66 degrees. I need to just move this by a hair. So I was saying on the when I was doing the first roll, Maryland Renaissance Fair is awesome, and we need to go. That'd be like a nice, convenient sort of halfway point between New York and Georgia, where you are. 2 vote banners I have to finish for the Quakers. Patreon stuff I gotta finish up. And zines, yes. Oh, I did that thing again where I moved my faucet a frickin' micrometer too much. Now I got a 69 degree rinse water. I want to get that down to 68. Stop! Stop! Damn it. That would be Maryland Ren Fair. First of all, is huge. It's got so many shops and so much food and so much drink. Oh my goodness. Are we good? We're at 68? Yes, good. I moved it half a micrometer this time. Oh, okay. Like, why am I leaking? I don't know if you enjoy seafood at all, but being that it is Maryland, there's plenty of it. There's even one food vendor there that it's a raw bar. They do a raw bar. Oyster shooters. I don't know if that is something that appeals to you. But they've got various other things as well. Like, I had for one meal, I had New England clam chowder in a bread bowl, and it tasted like homemade clam chowder. It was delicious. Then the second day I decided for breakfast to have apple dumplings and ice cream for breakfast. Both my spouse and I did. Buddy goes, I hate that. That's disgusting. Also, only Ren Fair I've ever been to that has a working pipe organ. So while we were having our breakfast of apple dumplings and ice cream on the second day, I got to hear some very interesting music played on a pipe organ. And that was when I realized that the main theme for Game of Thrones sounds awesome on a pipe organ. Muses the Uprising? Hit or miss. Really? You got warmer? Ah, lobster rolls. They had those there too. And shepherd's pie in a... Basically, it was a hand pie. So shepherd's pie in... Mayo kinder butter? I don't know. I didn't have any. I didn't have any. The lines were way too long. Oh, I see what you did there. You silly goose. All right, we are 5 minutes left in the first stage. It's what I do. So yes, this weekend I have a big gay wedding on Long Island. And then the weekend after that I have a family wedding. One of my cousins is getting married. I'm really looking forward to this weekend's wedding. The family wedding... Yeah. Yeah. The family wedding, though, at least that one is in driving distance from me. It's an hour and 45. So I'm just basically going down there for the wedding, the reception, and then hightailing it back home. And given what you have told me about your family before, that's How are we doing? We're doing good. Okay, rinse water is good. The fixer has, not unlike myself. Nope. 3 minutes to go. Must remember to agitate. Like, I say that residual carried over, but then it dropped back below 68. Because my apartment is currently 62 degrees. We don't have the heat on, and we have some of the windows open. Because it's fall, and it's our favorite. Two minutes. Like, it's going to get down to it's going to get down to about 40 degrees tonight. I'm just like... Like, we went apple picking on Sunday. We got like 30 pounds of Granny Smith apples right over here. And... You know, we got cider donuts, and there's, fresh made apple pie, and yes. All Granny Smiths, by the way. I am convinced that that's all the only apple that I will ever need. My favorite is the apple that punches you in the face when you bite into it. Well, isn't George's big thing the peach? Because I can't imagine that the climate or the soil is good for apples down in that neck of the country. All right, we are coming up near the end, so our stop bath is ready. Remember, if your urine looks like this, drink water right now. All right. All right, we have reached the end of the 14. So we're going to do stop bath is next. Immediately pour this out. And immediately put the stop bath in. And we'll do this for about a minute. Constant agitation for about a minute. A minimum of 30 seconds. Stop in the name of bath before you develop way too much. Well, that's exactly it. You don't want to overcook your film here. But I know you're referring to the song. Stop in the name of Beth before you develop. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. All right. Here we are. We have stopped the developing. But it's late and I'm tired. You don't worry. Pat, 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 pat. Don't worry, you're forgiven. Next up is our fixer. 4 minutes. Just dump the residual stop bath out. There we go. We are still not safe for the light yet. So fixer in next. And this is for 4 minutes. And again, just like the developer, constant agitation for the first 30 seconds. So, Tiny Dragon, are you doing Artist Back Alley this weekend? This will be my second consecutive miss because of the wedding this weekend. I was like, oh, I wanted to, but nope. Don't have the energy to want to bring to the party. That's fair. If they adhere to their every 2-month slate, then I'm hoping that if and when they schedule the December one, I can take part. Provided it's not the first weekend of December, because I will be in Philadelphia for PAX Unplugged. PAX Unplugged. That's the one that my spouse comes with me to, because it's all tabletop. It's all tabletop and board games. There's no video games, no loud noise. Well, no video game loud noises. None of that. Also, in Philly's just a great city anyway. Well, thank you. I hope I do too. I hope I have an awesome time. Okay, we can take these thermometers out. Our rinse water is at the correct temperature, so we'll just take these out. Yep, we'll do the final agitations. So we're coming up on first rinse, which will be for about a minute. And if I was not using my other 2 chemicals, then this would be the last step. I would just be running it under here for about 15-20 minutes. So there we are. We are done with the fixer. And we move on. Put you under for 1 minute. And what's coming up next is the Wash Aid, which will cut down on my final rinse time from 20 minutes down to 5. Alright, next up is the Wash Aid. For 2.5 minutes. Two and a half minutes of constant agitation. And then it'll be final rinse time. switching arms here. God, I'm so glad that we bought this anti-fatigue mat that I'm standing on right in front of the sink here. Otherwise, my feet would be screaming at me. Like, what are you doing? You've been standing for 2 hours straight. You've returned with peppermint tea. I have no idea what soundtrack we're on now. Oh, thank God. Huh. First of all, what the hell album am I on? Alright, I'm still on Vampire Variations. Okay. Whew. Alright, Wash Shade is done, and we're gonna move into Final Rinses. Nice and sudsy. Rinse that film. The problem is that my hands are moist, and so is the tank, which is going to make unscrewing this a little bit of a challenge. Actually, I don't need to do that just yet. I can just do that. That's what I'll do. While that goes on, I gotta grab something to dry my hands with so I can unscrew that. Get a paper towel or something. But thank you to everyone out there who has been joining me, who's joined me for this evening of photo fun. Next week, so 1 week from today, actually, on no, I'm changing my stream schedule. That's right. So I'm going back to Monday, Friday for video games, and the art stream will be back to on Tuesdays. So no, on Tuesday you will see what's developed. Alright, can I open this now? Yes, okay. Good. I'm switching it up because, okay, so my girlfriend Rosemary, we have a chat / board game night, virtual board game night every week, and she has to juggle that with her husband to arrange, which nights will she be solo parenting because he's teaching, and so the new semester just started, so it was Tuesdays in which she and I had our weekly game night and chat. But now he's teaching on Tuesdays this semester, which means she's solo parenting, which means she doesn't really have a whole lot of energy in the evening, and so now it's back. And so now our weekly game night's been moved to Thursdays. So I'm just basically doing a swap. The art nights are now going to shift back to Tuesday. So yes, next art stream will be on Tuesday, and you lovely people will get to see what developed. Because probably Sunday evening, I will be Sunday evening after I come back from the wedding, I will probably be scanning the film. And then, yeah. Brains broken with those Friday. No. There is no stream tomorrow night from me because I will be on Long Island. But Monday, we'll be back to more Final Fantasy VII. And because my spouse is doing a reading at the wedding this weekend, so we're going to be part of the rehearsal dinner tomorrow night. So we're probably getting on the road in the morning. The rehearsal dinner, because we have to practice how to eat. All right, the rinsing is done. And now, the last step. Oh no, more food! This is terrible! Oh no, 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 oh no, oh no. How will we ever cope? Oh no, no. Don't give me food, I want Soylent Green instead. Alright, last step. The Ilfotol. It's the drying agent. Film jet dry. I don't want to rehearse. I don't want food at a rehearsal dinner. I want corrugated bran puffs. I thought you were going to say corrugated in this economy? All right. That is that. We have reached the end, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what roll number 2 contains. Well, obviously, obviously this roll is going to have more death on it. But this was the one that gave me trouble when I was loading it onto this the first time. So hopefully that did not play a factor in this. Well, there we are. Very nice. No, I think we're good. So, yeah, let me go hang this up. I'll be back in a minute. More death. All right. So there we have it. 2 rolls developed, done, and ready to go. They're going to dry overnight, but I won't be able to scan them until I come home from Long Island this weekend. So I'll get more into detail on this on Tuesday, but something hold on, rented lips. One thing I noticed about cemeteries in Baltimore is that in my explorations, I didn't see there's not a whole lot of cemeteries in the actual downtown area proper. A lot of them have been built over, and part of that is just I'm so used to living in the Northeast, and particularly in specifically New England, Boston, which took great pains to build around its cemeteries and burying grounds. Baltimore just built over quite a lot of them, and also, not for nothing, but because Baltimore it has a pretty large, I think actually majority African American population. A lot of those cemeteries are now lost to history, been built over. So like one of the cemeteries I actually wanted to visit, it's Old St. Paul's Cemetery. It's actually the oldest in the city of in the actual downtown area of Baltimore, and that was the only one I could find. The problem was that it was locked, and also it's on the University of Maryland campus. And the part that still exists, when I did a little research on it, half of that cemetery is gone. It's, there's some University of Maryland building built over it, but the part of the cemetery that is still extant and that you can get into, we just couldn't get into it that particular day because it was locked. I think that the reason why that still is accessible is because it contains the graves of some of this country's, figures. It has Samuel Chase, which has who was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. It also is the original burial site, he has since been moved, of Francis Scott Key, who wrote our national anthem. But the cemetery where Edgar Allan Poe is buried, the church that is right next to that burial yard, the reason why the church was built was to prevent the city of Baltimore from raising it and building over it like they did with pretty much every single one of their other small burying grounds throughout the city. So that's just pretty interesting. Just from a geographical point of view. Like, as I said, Boston took great pains to build around their historical burial sites. Baltimore, not so much. It's just, yeah. We'll keep the one that one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence is buried in, and where the guy who wrote the national anthem was originally buried. But everything else is just like, nah, just build over it. Hawthorne deserves to be haunted at that point. Bunch of angry ghosts haranguing the city planner's office. So, but I'll get more into it on Tuesday when I start playing around and playing around with these images and editing them. So, that's gonna be before I go completely though. Before I say farewell to everyone, stream schedule next week: Monday and Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Monday we'll do more Final Fantasy VII. Tuesday will be the editing stream. So if you stuck around to see me develop these roles, Tuesday you'll actually see what came out. So be sure to tune in for that. No stream next Friday because once again it'll be my second consecutive wedding, and then done with weddings for a little bit anyway. So if you are curious about my art, my photography, and you want to know more about it, just type in the ! art. It will take you to my card page, and that will give you my website, Instagram, Vero, Redbubble. Thank you, Tiny Dragon. And, yeah, that's, I think that's going to be it for me. Let's see if there's anybody on that I can share the love, spread the joy around. See if anyone's on. Come on, wake up. I know you exist. Ursa is streaming right now. Okay. I don't know why my... Whatever. Then let's see about spreading the love to Ursa. Because for some reason my laptop is being a silly goose. Yum-ta-dum-ta-dum-ta-dum. Oh yeah, we got a party here. We got Ursa Crafta, we've got Fabu. But let's go to Ursa Crafta. Alright. No, I like that idea. Let's do the thing. Did I spell that right? Yes, I did. Alright. So, have a lovely, lovely weekend. I will see you on Monday. Thanks so much for spending some of your Thursday evening with me. And as I always say, stay healthy, stay safe, wear your fucking masks, go get boosted, and all of that fun stuff. Alright, my friends, till I see you again on Monday, good night, and joy be with you all. Be well. See you Monday night.